I'm going to be calling up on stage one of Nigeria's finest filmmakers, writer, producer, director, Chinaza Onuzo, also known as Naz. Naz, Naz is a prominent Nigerian filmmaker and the CEO of Inkblot Studios, a leading Nigerian film and TV production company which produced several commercially successful and crucially acclaimed films that grossed over 2 billion naira at the Nigerian box office and has been showcased on global streaming platforms and renowned festivals like the Toronto International Film Festival. And under his leadership, Inkblot was also the first African company to sign a global output deal with Amazon's Prime Video. Inkblot Studios recently moved into distribution when, in 2025, it partnered with the Filmhouse Group to launch Kava TV, a global streaming platform focused on Nigerian and African storytelling. As a filmmaker, Chinaza has worked on many projects over the years, including creating and producing...
Oh yeah, I know you can stop. It's okay. I'm now sitting down. You can stop now. Yes, I've reached.
I'm almost done. Chinaza's combination of creative vision and business acumen has been instrumental in establishing Inkblot Studios as a key voice in African cinema. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chinaza Onuzo.
Right. We are going to fight.
So why didn't you want me to finish reading your profile?
Well, they have to shift again because Okpe has decided to come and attack me.
Okay, so Naz, could you please stay in the middle right here?
That's why I sat here, so I don't have to be in between you people.
Okay, this is going to be really interesting. So first off, I want to say congratulations on your new film.
Thank you very much.
Everything is new again.
Yes.
I was at the premiere and it was really, really beautiful. If you're at the premiere, can you please give us a round of applause?
Thank you.
I want to ask, Naz, a Lagos Love Story and Everything is New Again. Prior to those two, you kind of like took a break in directing. Any particular reason why?
The work is plenty. So when you're directing, you literally have to take like 2 to 4 weeks off to direct, and then you have to now focus on post and everything. So I always say that directing is like me on vacation, despite it being stressful, but it allows me to do the creative side. But mostly, yes, I'm production, executive, etc.
Extra, amazing. Now, I want to ask this. In typical Inkblot tradition, what we know... Now, no matter how you roll your eyes, we're going to ask those questions. Typically, we would have about a minimum of 3 releases annually, 2-3 releases annually. But we've seen that...
I think they even did 6 at one point.
Right? But why is it that last year it was just only a Lagos Love Story, and now, obviously, this year, everything is new again? Any particular... Is that a strategy for Inkblot?
So I think everybody has touched on it in different ways, and I guess I will use that to start the conversation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in 2016, Netflix announced that they were global. We all woke up one day and Netflix went from about 20 countries to 160 countries overnight. And so they were actively trying to scale globally. In 2019, they set up an Africa team that actively was working to purchase films and television shows for the continent. Amazon joined them in 2020, 2021. And so you had 2 of the biggest streamers in the world with over 200 million subscribers actively compete for Nigerian audiences, coupled with Showmax also trying to build out their streaming platform. So Nigeria was one of the biggest beneficiaries of the streaming wars. And we basically, like any good arms dealer in a war, were actively working on selling to them. And so we built our scale up. In the initial days prior to the streaming wars, we were making 1 to 2 a year. When we were able to sell to our streaming partners, we moved up to 4 to 6. And that was basically the thing. And then 2024, the streaming wars came to an end. And so what happened was both Amazon and Netflix decided to slow down. And so our output slowed down alongside that in, I would say, those 2 years as we were then thinking through what the market looked like. And then Kava. So we're back again producing films. So we're now attacking the distribution angle from a different strategy, and we can talk about that as well.
Okay, so that's my interest. Kava. What is the future for Kava? And I mean, know some of the answers, but I think you should speak to it as well. Is Kava set up to compete with global streamers? Do you think that at some point it will get to that level? And how has the journey been? It's been about 6 months. I think that a lot of people are curious to also know how they can get their films on the platform as well.
All right, cool. Thank you. So that's why you came here, Abi. So
That's
ask
why
this
I
question.
came here, yes.
Okay, all right. So I think when you look at streaming, there are effectively what I would say two types of streaming. There's what you would call general entertainment. So those are the streamers that provide everything to you. So you're looking for all types of content, Nigerian content, American content, British content, sports, entertainment, general entertainment. So those streamers tend to have your bulk of your watching. So in Nigeria, it's Netflix, it's Showmax, and to some degree, Amazon Prime. So most people will usually have one of those types of streamers. Now, the second is what we call the niche or specialty streamer, where you have a dedicated fan base focused on that particular content. So in our case, Kava, and with the other players, we're focused on Nigerian and African content, where we're looking for the core fans that will want to subscribe to the platform. You also have things like Crunchyroll. There are a few people that subscribe to anime. There are people that do K-drama. So you have all those specialty subscriptions, but our focus is providing Nigerian African content to people as an addition to their global general entertainment platforms, both in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the diaspora at large. So that is our thesis, because we believe that Nigerian entertainment has a broad-based fan base globally. I didn't answer the second question.
Exactly.
So I think with Kava, in terms of how you get your films, our focus right now is primarily films that have gone to cinema. If you look at our platform, we're looking at films that audiences have already seen. And of course, those films are generally made by some of Nigeria's foremost filmmakers. And that is our primary strategy at the moment, because we want films that the audiences have already heard of as we're trying to start. We're barely 6 months old. Over time, you're going to have to broaden the diet of films, because there are more Nigerian audiences than just the people who like the films that cater to the cinema crowd. There's documentaries, there's children, there's family, there's faith-based. So there are all tons of genres within the Nigerian film industry that we look forward to exploring over time. But it's a journey, a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, my next question, and I can leave Bisola, is, the theme of this summit is unlocking, the next decade, really, the potential of the next decade. I wanted to hear your views on what you think, what do you think is going to happen over the next few years? Where do you think the opportunities are? If you can speak a bit to as well, the December, because you tweeted a bit about December and demand and supply and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts about?
Oh, big mistake.
And
I
you've
should
also
have stayed in my house.
Yes, well, now you're here. And I know you've also been part of a number of collaborations. So just broadly speaking, speak about how you see the next few years evolving.
Okay. I think, let me frame the conversation slightly differently. So in what I would call peak pay TV in Nigeria, you had MultiChoice had about 5 million subscribers across Nigeria via satellite, right? And their average was about 7K, which is funny to think about the time. 7K was about $20, right? So that means every month, MultiChoice was doing $100 million in revenue in Nigeria from Nigerian subscriptions. That's over $1 billion a year. At the same time, StarTimes had roughly 2 to 3 million subscribers, which was roughly an additional $20 million a month in subscriptions, which means that Nigerian audiences in Nigeria paid roughly $1.5 billion a year to watch television. Most people don't know that. That is the reason why the streaming wars happened. Most people tried to capture that 1.5 billion. And figuring out how to unlock that audience in today's world is the work. It doesn't matter if it's us, if it is the cinemas, if it's the TV, there is a significant amount of value that needs to be unlocked for Nigerian film and television. And I think the work of the next decade is localizing that revenue, figuring out how Nigerian companies can capture that revenue and invest in Nigeria. This is not necessarily because having foreign investors or foreign entrants is bad. It's that when you look at most countries, the local streamers and local businesses invest more of that revenue in the country. So if you look at MultiChoice, if you go back to their numbers, you can actually tell the percentage of the revenue they earned that they invested in Nigeria. It's public knowledge, so you can sort of check.
So
no,
what
I'm not.
percentage?
You feel free. It's public. It's not. But my point is, a local streamer or a local company would have invested more. And that is the type of transformation that the local players have to have. Most of that revenue needs to be domesticated and transformed through the ecosystem. So if you want that 250 billion that Balaji Balogun mentioned, you need local players investing the revenue from the sector into the sector in Nigeria. So that is the goal for Nigerian production companies and distributors and everybody. We want to localize the spend here.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Naz. Even though Mr.
I know, right?
He hijacked my session.
Sorry. Why are you here, Seth? Oh, it's your event, sorry.
But I want to ask you, Naz, is Kava TV commissioning local, smaller production companies to create content for Kava TV?
So the answer is yes, eventually, at some point. Because, and I'll explain why that's important. You have a wide range of Nigerian creators. Everybody is a young creator at some point, and you never know who can speak to the next generation, because you cannot say, oh, we only want XYZ creator, because that is you cutting your nose to spite your face. When we started Inkblot, we were the young creators. We were in our 20s, we decided to make films, and that opportunity that enabled us scale is the same opportunity that we have to provide to the next generation. Because if you don't, you will die. So it is a matter of survival for Kava to get to a financial place where it can provide the platform for the next generation of filmmakers. But poor people cannot help other poor people. So we need to scale so that we are not pulling them into a ditch and we're all sad saying, oh, why, nobody's watching our stuff. We need to get the scale so those creators can get the benefit of the distribution. So look at what Colin Afolaya mentioned. We did not invest in Netflix going global, but we rode on those distribution networks where Nigerian films are doing 50 million hours, 100 million hours, 30 million hours. We benefited from the work other people did. And so we need to do that so the young generation can benefit.
Amazing. You mentioned that Kava is catering to mostly Nigerian and African films, yes? Are there any other African productions?
It's intentional. You know, when you say it like that, you are implying that that's the goal.
Yes.
But I think, yes, because one of the things that is very important is people want to see themselves, right? So the dream for Kava is that all Africans see themselves in Kava to some degree. Because Nigeria is 200 million strong, but there are 800 million other Africans, and we want them to see premium content from their markets. We don't know whether that will take 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, but it's an important thing. There is user-generated content from all over the world. That's important. People want to be able to pick up a camera, a cheap phone, whatever, and record. That is great. But there is something about being able to create premium content that costs $500,000, $1 million, $2 million. One of the things that Netflix did was it showed what happens in Nigeria when you have the ability to make that type of content. Our dream is to be able to do that for Nigeria again and for other parts of Africa.
Now, speaking about 200 million subscribers.
No,
I'm not asking. Population. Pardon me.
Please.
Population. I mean, if we had 200 million subscribers, everybody would be balling, isn't it?
No, we're still humble.
We are still. So yes, 200 million Nigerians, and the numbers are in the masses, you know, but it's still a challenge getting people on board. I just want to know, is Kava partnering with any of these internet providers to see how, you know, the layman, when they shouldn't think of any other streaming platform to get entertainment, is Kava? Is that in the works?
So my honest answer is that I will hope not, and I'll explain why. You can't have a market with only one player. It is not a thing that is good for you, the player, or is good for the market. You need something that creates opportunity and passion and many people feeling that they can make a difference. If I show up and I am 90% of the market, what happens is that everybody stays in their house. What you want is opportunity to generate things that could transform. So look at this AI thing, right? It started with OpenAI. And imagine if all you had was OpenAI. They're now 90%, but now you have Gemini, you have Copilot, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that spur innovation. And Nigerian film and television needs innovation. We need new voices, old voices, medium voices, everybody trying to do things. And we need multiple streaming platforms. As you said, there are 200 million people. In most mature markets, the number of people in the market is equal to the number of potential subscribers. So in theory, there are 200 million subscribers. Obviously, people have multiples. If you end up with 200 million subscribers as a country, you don't have this problem. And that is the dream.
Amazing. Do we have any questions in the audience? Mr. Akwe, do you have any more questions for Naz?
He said I shouldn't ask any more questions.
Yes. You've
We have questions from the audience.
Bikia, do you have anyone on there?
Yes, we do have a few. So the first question is, when exactly are you coming back to cinema?
Today.
Cinemas today, yeah.
Marketing has failed though.
I
If
know.
they're asking the question, oh my Jesus.
No, but it's good that they ask the question so that you say that so people in the room
Yes,
and
everything is
people
new
watching-
again.
Yes,
Please go and watch my
indeed.
film. It's a love film. We'll have made a love film, please. It's
Everything
Valentine's
is
period.
new again. It started,
Everything is
it's
new again.
Started showing in cinemas today. So you're right on time. I'm one of the first people that can just go to the cinemas once you leave Alliance Francaise.
Okay. And then, as a young independent filmmaker, my biggest challenge has been accessing funds. All my past works are self-funded and government funding for creatives are available to established filmmakers and not upstarts. Please advise, how can a young filmmaker access financing?
So I think there are many levels to that question. And it's a function of what are you trying to make in a nutshell, because every different film has different budget levels. So as a young filmmaker making a no budget or low budget film, you probably have the funding required to do that today. If you want to make a slightly bigger budget film, you have to have collaborators. And the best way to get collaborators is to have those smaller, no budget films be visible and distributed. So as a young filmmaker, the first advice I always give is get your work out there. Once you get your work out there, it opens you up to collaborations where you're showing, I want to do this larger project because this smaller one exists. And that enables you to bring in partnerships that enables your dreams to come through. The other thing is, I say young filmmakers should find collaborations. They should find other like-minded people and pool resources together. That also enables them breakthrough. So those are my general things, because it is hard, as every financier has said, we only touch things that make sense to us, and it is harder for younger filmmakers to be in the positions to attract the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. And I like this question. Mr. Naz, why do you like love story only?
Nigeria is hard.
Indeed. And another question is, what makes Kava different from the international streaming platforms? Why do you think you will succeed when you're in competition with the others?
So I would say why we want to make Kava to exist, irrespective of anything else that is happening. It is that we have a deep abiding love, both us and Filmhouse, in telling our stories our way. And for us, Kava gives us the freedom to make that argument to the audience, that Nigerian stories at scale, at premium, are worth existing, and we're willing to bet our time, our money, our expertise to making that happen. That we're going to make and show you and bring to you Nigerian films and television made by the best Nigerian creators for you. And it is not one a month, it is one a week, one every 2 weeks, and we're going to try and have the biggest and best selection. And we hope that when they see that, they choose us, basically.
Okay, thank you very much. And talking about subscribers, is it possible, given the state of the nation at the moment, to achieve substantial subscribers that breaks tide?
So that's why I started with that 1.5 billion first, because my argument has always been Nigerians pay for entertainment. You will not hear someone saying, oh, is there money in Nigeria to pay for weddings? Is there money in Nigeria to pay for food? So there are things that Nigerians pay for, and entertainment is one of them. The question is whether they want to spend the money they spend on entertainment on you. And that is the case we need to make.
Indeed. Thank you. And the final question is, as a filmmaker who sells to YouTube platforms, what do I need to do to get to sell our film to Kava as a next step?
So what I would say is that the audiences are slightly different. So that in and of itself determines the decision. So YouTube is a choice driven by free. And as somebody used to say, you cannot beat free. So the thing about YouTube is it caters to films that drive people's curiosity when it is offered for free. For a film to go on Kava, you have to ask yourself, would you pay 3,000 naira to access this film on my platform? And that is the question you need to ask yourself as a filmmaker. And it's not about the budget, it's about what about this film will my audience be willing to pay for? And once we see those types of films, we will take them. We want to make the platform have the films that people literally say, I want to watch this film. So let me just do one slide plug since we're here. So we literally just had Red Circle launch yesterday. Red Circle has been one of the most requested films when we kept asking people, what do you want to see on Kava? For the last 3 months, Red Circle was one of those films. So that is the type of thing we want. It's not about the budget, the this, the that. You want the films that the audience wants to watch. That's what makes your life easy.
Okay, thank you very much, Naz.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
everyone.
much. Thank you.
I do
Can we
have
give
a
a big round of
question.
applause, please? Sadly, we don't have enough time for any extra questions, but we'll be moving on shortly.